Hello there, it's Marion Kilkenny again, and I'm here to talk to you today about ownership of self. And I know that sounds very generic, but Rosemary and myself have come to the conclusion after many years of working on this topic that this is really one of the major reasons why obesity and overweight and morbid obesity has gotten out of control is because we have lost ownership of ourselves. Now, that might sound like a very blanket statement, but let me just explain to you briefly how I believe I lost ownership of myself because I have spent my life in this obesity circle, round and around and around, gaining weight, losing weight, gaining weight, losing weight, and then gaining so much weight I didn't know where I was going to go with it. I ended up with a gastric bypass surgery, and that was 5 years ago, and my life has changed completely since. But not necessarily because of the weight loss, but because of the mind change that is associated with it. Um, Back to where I believe I lost ownership of myself. Well, let me tell you where I think it happened to me, and maybe you'll recall what your little situation might have been, because there probably was one. I remember being in third grade, and it was gym day this particular day, a day that I could not stand. I hated gym because I was not physically fit, I was heavy, I knew I wasn't able to keep up. And it was just underlining that inferiority that I had about myself. It was one of those places I did not like to be. But anyway, needless to say, we did what we were told. We all lined up like little soldiers off to our doom, and down to the gymnasium we headed. In a straight line, mind you, because it was a Catholic school and the nun was in charge, and you did what you were told. Anyway, we arrived at the gymnasium, and I don't know if you recall the gymnasium's sound, but there is an echo in a gym, and particularly a very empty gym, which happened to be the case this day. But the nun, Sister Mary, I can't remember her name. She was quite nice at the time. But anyway, she picked the two prettiest girls in the classroom to be team leaders for the girls. And one by one, those teams were picked to the point where there was one person left standing, and that was me. So you can imagine how I felt standing there, knowing that neither one of them really wanted me, because with that echo that I'm talking about in the gymnasium, one says to the other, "You take her. We had her last time. It's no fair." Well, I wanted the ground to swallow me up that day because, as young as I was, mind you, third grade, what is that, 8 years old? I felt absolutely worthless. I thought to myself, if a room full of my peers thought that I was that worthless, that they didn't want me, they were fighting over who deserved to get me because I was so bad. If that was the situation, there must be some truth to it. I mean, a whole room full of them think the same way. Well, then there must be some truth to it. And I believe from that day forward, I started living my life to please other people. I lost myself from that day forward. And that's not because I had a bad upbringing. I came from a wonderful family. I really did. I didn't discuss this with my parents because I thought, well, they respect me, so let's not change it. Let's just keep the balance kind of equal at home, and they won't know that I'm going through this. And of course, there was bullying those days, and there was abuse, the emotional kind of abuse, and there really was no name for it. But believe me, I was a target for it. And the more time went on, the more of a target I became. But my thought process was that the way to handle this was to make people like me, to do what I needed to do to make them like me. In other words, to please them. And this became part of my life, was pleasing the people around me. I lived my life to please those around me. I lived my life to satisfy the needs of other people and not myself. So as a result, anyway, I started turning to food because food was a friend. It made me feel good for the short time after I ate it. I kind of was on some sort of a high, which I guess is the same excuse for somebody who takes a drug or somebody who takes a drink or somebody even gambles. It's all the same addictive behavior, and it becomes addictive because we allow ourselves to fall into that trap of living to please other people and not owning who we are ourselves. So, with that said, I believe that everybody who's living this life of obesity, of addiction, has had their own third grade experience somewhere along the way. It may not be identical to mine, but there's something somewhere along the way that has taken you away from you, that has made you believe that you are not worthy of being the one who dictates where your life is going and how you're going to live it. I believe that this weakness has allowed you to live your life to please other people, and you've lost yourself completely on that journey. But we're here to tell you that you can take back ownership of yourself. Not only that, we're here to tell you how to do it. Rosemary Shulman and myself have spent years working on this project. We know what it's like. In fact, we've met so many people who have had a story that can only be described as their own third grade experience that has taken away from them their very ownership of self. And as a result, their lives have been more or less wasted. But that's not going to be the case anymore. If you hang out with us here at Hangout with Weight Loss.com, or you go to www.bariatricsurgeryforthemind.net, and that is BARIATRIC, bariatric surgery for, that's FOR, the mind.net. You'll see what we're talking about here. You'll see how you can reprogram your mind to regain confidence, to live the life that you were meant to live, not by the standards somebody else has set for you. There are no limitations to what you can do for yourself, except the limitations that you have set up for yourself in your mind. And you can wipe those out and start all over again. And we're going to show you how to do this. This is different than any other plan that you've seen. So please, hang out with us and hang in there with us. And continue to stop in and visit us here at hangoutwithweightloss.com. And we're going to be giving live hangout sessions so that you can talk with us, so that we can answer your questions. But in the meantime, just know that we're setting ourselves up to do just that. We're introducing ourselves here. Rosemary will be joining me on and off with her medical input, her knowledge from a different angle. She is very knowledgeable on the protocols of what is necessary as far as how to eat and the nutrients that are needed to maintain proper health. There is so much involved in this topic, and we're here to help you with it. So hang in and hang out, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye now.